Anyone who complains that it's racist or xenophobic to call this virus the Chinese coronavirus or the Wuhan virus is a politically correct fool, and they ought not to be listened to about anything, especially when it comes to how to stop the spread of this virus.
You're not going to tell us how to talk about it. One, it's not racist. China is not a race. It's a country. Number two, this has nothing to do with the Chinese people. Nothing. They're not telling us how to do this. This is an effort by a totalitarian regime, their PR machine, and their bots to dictate how the American people speak about this. We're not going to do it.
I have to call it where it came from. It did come from China. So I think it's a very accurate term. But no, I didn't appreciate the fact that China was saying that our military gave it to them. Our military did not give it to anybody.
Critics say using that phrase creates a stigma.
No, I don't think so. No, I think saying that our military gave it to them creates a stigma.
He's been referring to the virus as a Chinese virus, and there were also some White House officials who called it the Kung Flu virus today. There are a lot of critics of the president who say that that's racist language, that that's xenophobic. The president, though, says that that is accurate language to use. He's saying that he's pushing back on China because they're saying that U.S. service members were the ones who brought this over from China. And then you had the president take to Twitter and start talking about the Chinese virus. You even, of course, had people, White House officials, calling this the Kung Flu virus. That, of course, people think of as a racist term. The idea that you have the president in one setting saying, yes, this is something that we should all take seriously, and then in another setting really setting the example for targeting this as a Chinese virus. A person at the White House used the term Kung Flu. My question is, do you think that's wrong, Kung Flu? And do you think using the term Chinese virus, that puts Asian Americans at risk, that people might target them?
No, not at all. I think they probably would agree with it 100%.
Keep calling this the Chinese virus. There are reports of dozens of incidents of bias against Chinese Americans in this country. Your own aide, Secretary Azar, says he does not use this term. He says ethnicity does not cause the virus. Why do you keep using this? A lot of people say it's racist.
It's not racist at all. No, not at all. It comes from China.
He shifted to xenophobic wartime Trump, where he thinks the only path now is to basically declare the virus public enemy number one, paint it in somewhat racist terms, and then say we must defeat this virus and try to take the mantle that I'm like the Douglas MacArthur.
Washington Post reports last night's Oval Office address from the president, quote, reflected not only his handling of the coronavirus crisis, but in some ways much of his presidency. It was riddled with errors, nationalistic and xenophobic in tone, limited in its empathy, and boastful of both his own decisions and the supremacy of the nation he leads. Over the last few weeks, we've seen people from highly infected nations targeted, singled out, and treated like social pariahs. Due to the virus's origins in China, people have taken to avoiding Chinese restaurants, Chinese people, Chinese markets.
The World Health Organization and the international community are clearly opposed to stigmatization and linking the virus to specific countries and regions. We urge the U.S. to immediately correct its mistake and stop its unjustifiable accusations against China.